You have the mindset of wanting to do well, because I feel like you're working really hard to not see a lot of results. Lead generation, expired. Obviously, the last 2 deals you've done expired. You also drive for dollars. You spend somewhere between, call it 30 minutes and 3 hours a day. Not really super consistent, but every single day you're doing something. Follow up, you said you're not really doing much. CRM, you don't have a CRM. So just out of curiosity, where do you have all your leads right now? Where
I used to have it on my cell phone, my cell phone.
Got it. Okay. And the last 2 deals you did were both expired. Okay, great. Can you give me a little bit of an idea of what your schedule looks like? And then we're going to dive right into a few things that we can make adjustment-wise, okay? What's your schedule?
I woke up very early.
Okay.
I do abs, and then I eat breakfast, and I hit the gym. No, I don't hit the gym. I hit the garage. I have my weights in the garage. So every day, that's what I do. And after that, I sit in front of the computer and try to call some people.
What time do you sit in front of the computer, typically?
9, 10.
Okay, great.
Because
so
you mentioned that.
How long do you sit in front of the computer to make your calls?
Depends.
Just on average, roughly.
It takes me too long time because I have to get the telephone numbers of the people. I have to go to the tax roll. I have to go to the name of the company, look the owners, and then look around in the. There's a program where you get telephone numbers of the people.
No, I'm familiar. I mean, anything else that you do during the day that you want to let me know?
If I gotta go somewhere, I go to meet somebody. If I have in the afternoon, that's what I do.
Just to clarify, you said your goals were to make $400,000 in GCI regardless of what happens with this current deal, correct?
Yeah.
Do you believe that the things that you're doing right now, the habits you currently have right now, and the way you're doing business right now is going to be the exact same as the version of you who's going to make $400,000 this year?
That's why I'm here.
Okay. No, I just want to get clear.
I like the system. I like your organization, your discipline. I got no discipline, no organization, no nothing.
I understand. Because I was saying we're gonna have to change some things up, so your life and your average day is gonna look very different. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So let's just start breaking things down, right? The fact that you're working, starting to get to work at 9 o'clock, I don't believe is one of your biggest challenges. What I want to cover real quick is a few things. One is what you do all day. I want to kind of fill in the blanks is going to be number one, right? So we're going to create a schedule for you. Number two. We're going to revamp the way that you're doing your lead generation activities. Okay, so it's not going to just be reliant on expireds and driving for dollars. Now, I want you to understand when I say revamp it doesn't mean we're not going to include that. We're just going to also do other things. So it'll be that plus, right?
I forgot something. When I see a building and there is no way I can find the telephone number of the guy, I go to the tenant and knock on the door and tell him, hey, I need to talk to the owner. Sometimes it works. Sometimes I have to go to the other apartment.
You have the mindset of wanting to do well. I just want to implement a lot of the systems and processes like you're saying you're looking for into the business so that you can start seeing results. Is that fair? Because I feel like you're working really hard to not see a lot of results. We're going to also implement, so we got the schedule we're going to create together, your lead generation activities, we're going to revamp and restructure. We're going to add some follow-up, a follow-up to your schedule. So you're going to see when to do that and how to do that. And then you're also going to add a CRM. So you're going to have to pay for a CRM system. Keep in mind that if any person, any business owner who makes several $100,000 a year, not just 1 year, but consistently, do you think they have some type of lead management system or no?
Yes.
Great. So they don't have to be expensive, by the way. I'm not telling you to spend thousands of dollars on this. I'm saying just get something, right? Like I'll give you exactly which one I use, and you could just use the same one, or you can choose anything that's maybe more affordable. It does not matter. I'm going to walk you step by step here, okay? So number one, let's actually start with the CRM. So when it comes to a CRM system, I personally use a software called Follow Up Boss. I've used it for the last decade. I do not think it's the best. I'm going to be honest. I think they do a good job. It's a little bit on the pricier side. It's going to be a couple $100 a month. I obviously pay way more than that because I have so many agents that are using it. But for a solo agent, I think it comes to like a little over $100. Okay, I could be wrong on that, but the point is you can look into Follow Up Boss. Now I'm going to be honest. You don't need Follow Up Boss. You can literally Google real estate CRM, and whichever one you want to use, you could just choose one. But what I would tell you to do is you're going to choose one, and then you're just going to use it for the next 2 years minimum, because switching CRM systems is really freaking annoying. Don't overcomplicate which one you use. If you want to just buy the one that I have, awesome. I would also just tell you if you end up with just wanting to get a cheaper one, totally cool as well. Point is, all you needed to do is the following. Be able to enter leads, which basically all of them will be able to do. Number two is to set tasks. Okay, that means you enter the information for the lead and added some notes, and then you want to set a task to follow up with that individual at some point in the future. And then the only other thing it needs to be able to do, which is a little bit more on the complex side, but I recommend that it has it so you can use it in the future, is some type of automatic text and email follow-up campaign function, which basically just means, let's say that you spoke to John the seller today. John says, Vicente, thank you so much for calling me. Great conversation. I'm not interested in selling right now, but maybe in a year or two, I'll be ready to sell. What this automatic text and email campaign should be able to do is that when you add this lead to the campaign that could be already created, which you'll have to create, but I can give you an outline of how to do it. It will send this individual texts and emails that are automatic. Okay, you don't have to do anything. And it will send them texts and emails for the next year, 2, 3, 4, or 5, right, to keep in touch with this individual until they're ready to do something. So you don't have to keep remembering to text them or remembering to email them or remembering to reach out. Your system will do this automatically. It's like, imagine trying to, run a business back in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s and not writing down anything. Like, maybe there wasn't, the computers where you plugged in stuff, but imagine not even putting it on paper. You just try to remember it all. It's really freaking difficult to do that, right? So now it's like, now that we have the tools, obviously we have more than just pen and paper. We want to use a software that's specifically built to support us in scaling the business. So now you can take every lead from your cell phone and you can start plugging it into your CRM system. Because this way you can actually see like, it will remind you, I have to call John back. I spoke to him 4 weeks ago and I promised him I'd call him back today. So the point is it will support you so you don't have to keep remembering it, right? It'll just tell you who to follow up with today. It'll make your life a lot easier, I promise. So that's going to be number 1. Does that sound good? So you're going to get a CRM system? How soon can I count on you to get a CRM system?
Next week.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So just when you do get it done, I want you to email me saying, I got a CRM system, I'm good to go. Okay, I'm going to hold you accountable to doing that. So I want to make sure you text me. You have 7 days to do that. So you can do that by next Monday. Next, let's talk about a schedule, and then I'm going to talk to you about exactly the lead generation strategies I recommend, as well as the follow-up system and process I recommend during this part. Okay, think about it like this, Vicente. Any real estate agent on planet Earth, I don't care if you're selling residential houses or you're selling commercial real estate. Okay, every real estate agent, what is one activity that makes us more money than almost anything else?
Well, the closing, but the lead generation is there.
Okay, great. So you're correct. Lead generation, right? Because that leads to closing deals, right? So lead generation, we can both agree. Okay, anyone would agree with you that it is the most valuable, it's the highest dollar productive activity that you can be doing as a real estate agent. Okay,
exactly,
Think about it like this. What I have found out in the last 10 years of doing business is the person who generates the most leads, not the person who spends the most time doing it, right? But the person who generates the most leads, okay, typically will make the most money. If you're gonna, let's just say, start opening your doors for business, right? Like how a store, right? Like any store that you walk to or go to, right? A restaurant or anything else, they have an opening time and a closing time. I want your business to think about that the same exact way. Your business, is open for business, right? Your real estate business, right? Your real estate practice is open for business starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. So that means every day, at least Monday through Friday, and I typically recommend at least one day on the weekend, until your checking account looks like something that would make you smile every time you look at it. Because I believe as someone who owns their own business, you own your own business, all real estate agents are business owners, solopreneurs. The week does not end for us, right? There is no weekend. The week does end for employees, right? They can take time off and do whatever the heck they want. But as solo entrepreneurs or just regular entrepreneurs, right? We do not have the week does not end, right? The week continues. It just keeps going. So we have to think about it in the sense where I still work on weekends sometimes, right? So we have to have that in the mindset. So your business, your practice here is going to open for business at 9 o'clock in the morning every day. Is that something you can commit to doing?
Yes.
Okay, great. The first 4 hours, not 1 hour, not 30 minutes if you feel like it, not 3 hours, 4 hours every single day, at least 5 days a week. You're not going to get up from your computer for 4 hours. Now, the only thing you can take a 5 or 15 minute break, go to the bathroom, do what you need to do, get some water. But the only activity business-wise that you get to do for at least 4 hours a day, which is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This means you don't get lunch, you don't go on a showing, you don't do anything else for 4 hours, okay? Pretend like you're your own employee for a second, okay? Like you work for you, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna go to work and I'm not gonna stop until I get my job done. For those 4 hours minimum, it might be longer on some days, okay? Your goal is to sit on the phones for 4 hours. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna be very clear about this. I say this all the time. I don't care if you cold call. I don't care if you're calling people in your database of people that you're best friends with. I don't care if you're calling anybody. It does not matter who you call. Obviously, I'll give you a bunch of ideas of who to call in a minute, but the point of it is you're on the phone outbound prospecting, okay? You're trying, like if someone calls you, unless it's literally the person who you just called, you don't answer it. Those 4 hours are for outbound prospecting only, because this is non distraction time. This is where like nothing else occurs besides you trying to generate seller leads. That is the only intention for 4 hours a day, every day. Do you know why we do this with at least 50% of our day every day? Why is that important?
The most important thing in real estate.
That's
As a
it.
realtor.
Exactly. What else should we be doing, right? Like it is the highest dollar productive activity that we should be doing as a real estate agent. So technically we should be spending 80+% of our working weeks doing lead generation. At a minimum, I say 4 hours a day. Now, during those 4 hours a day, the question is, what should you specifically be doing? Because I want to be very clear. This is also not time to pull phone numbers. This is not time to be, researching properties. The only thing you should do is you should have your list and you're making calls. The way my team does it is we use a software called Reonomy.
I've seen almost all your videos, man.
Okay, also, so we use Reonomy. We use and we use CoStar, and then we use a couple of very expensive other softwares to pull phone numbers. But those two main ones, Reonomy and CoStar, is where we pull phone numbers from, and then my agents will prospect those numbers along with me. So every day, you should have a lead list pulled, and you should be prospecting that lead list. Now, we also use a dialer called Mojo. I don't think it's the best dialer out there. I've just been using it for 10 years. It works, so I continue to use it, right? I'm pretty old school too. Okay. When something works, I don't need to fix it. So I use something called Mojo. Reonomy is about $400 or $500 a month. CoStar is about the same, maybe $500-$600 a month, somewhere in that range for one account. And then you could also look at CREsync. CREsync is another software. You could probably get it for like $250 or $300 a month. Any one of those.
There's another one. I forgot the name. The $99, but he's not as good. But he does the job.
What, like for you're saying to pull leads?
You can trace the neighborhood and the property you want, the kind of property you want.
Okay, so what you're saying? Are you saying a dialer?
No.
Is it PropStream?
I forgot the name, man.
It's okay. If it comes to you, just let me know, but it's okay. Listen, I'll say it to you like this. I'm not telling you to get one of those softwares. I'm just letting you know what I do. So I just want you to think about it like this. If you do not have enough leads to prospect, you might need another software so you can pull more leads. Because if you're making 4 hours of calls a day, you should be able to get through 100, 200, 300, 400 calls a day. Because I use a dialer. My team members use dialers, right? All the agents we work with in the program typically will use a dialer. Because what I'm technically recommending, what I highly recommend for everyone to do, is that during those 4 hours, spend around 3 of those hours cold calling, and then 1 of those hours making warm phone calls. Okay, which means to your phone book, right? I just take my phone, right? I go to my contact list, and I just, I will make calls all day nonstop. This is an and, it's not an or, right? Like, it's not like you make cold calls or you make warm calls. A lot of people watch my content and go like, oh, Henry doesn't make any warm database calls and ask for referrals and try to build a referral base. I do both. I think both are very important. It's not or, it's both. Those 4 hours, I don't care how you break it up. Your first hour, you want to do warm calls to warm you up, right? Get fresh and ready to go. And then you make 3 hours of cold calls afterwards. Fine. I don't care. It does not matter. But you have 4 hours to prospect. Now, during those 4 hours, I want you to think about trying to generate 2 seller leads per day. That's your goal. So you do not stop prospecting until you generate 2 seller leads a day. Now, when I say a seller lead, what does that mean to you?
He's open to selling the property.
Great. For any price. It doesn't matter if it's $20 billion or 200 grand. It does not matter. The point is, they could be out of their mind on price. The whole thing I want you to think about, though, is just the discipline of getting 2 seller leads every single day minimum. Now, obviously, if you get them by, if it's like 10 o'clock and you generated 2 seller leads, I don't think you should take the rest of the day off. But the goal is every day at a minimum 2 seller leads a day. Let's say it's 1 o'clock now. Okay? You've done your 4 hours. You generated 2 seller leads for the day. Awesome job. It's 1 o'clock. What do you think you should do now?
Set up I don't know. Calling expired.
No, so just remember, calling expired is still cold calling. So you could do that during your 4 hours. Now, if you did not generate your 2 leads, I highly recommend you just continue until that occurs. But at 1 o'clock, what I want you to know is, listen, this is time. Take a break, get some lunch, eat, feel your body, right? Do whatever you need to do. While you eat, I do the same thing every day, right? While I eat, I make my follow-up calls. So I have deals that I'm working on and I want to get across the finish line, get them to accept a certain offer. I got to negotiate a price. I'm actually trying to buy a few properties right now, so I'm constantly in touch with the seller, but I don't call them during my prospecting time. I call them during my follow-up time. So from 1 o'clock to 2 p.m., the only thing you do for 1 hour every day while you eat your lunch at home, right, just like I do, is make your follow-up calls. That's it. Every single person in your CRM system that it tells you have to follow up with, you have 1 hour to do it. You can literally go on your phone, set a timer for 60 minutes. You have 60 minutes to make as many follow-up calls as you possibly can. Now it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What do you do now? You got your 2 seller leads. You completed your follow-up. Now what?
I have to keep calling because I don't have anything going right now.
Okay, so hold on. Great. So you're getting ahead of me, which is good. So now what's going to happen is this. Let's say you've generated your 2 leads, you did your follow-up, and maybe you set up an appointment. Now, from 2 o'clock to 3 p.m., okay, you still don't go on any appointments yet. From 2 to 3 o'clock, and sometimes you even tell people from 2 to 4 o'clock, depending on how busy you are. So it depends on how busy you are, but I'd say at least 1 hour and possibly 2 hours every day from 2 to 4 is just pitching deals. Okay, so now you're going to spend 1 to 2 hours a day calling up buyers to now sell them on the deals you just generated that day. Because you just generated 2 new leads, you got to sell them. You need offers, right, on those properties. So now you're going to spend 2 hours every day calling buyers and investors just like the one guy you have now. And obviously our goal together will be, an agent, the version of you who makes $400,000 a year has dozens of investors, hundreds of investors, and maybe 4, 5, or 6 really, really seasoned active buyers that you can call up every single day. Hey, John, right? Hey, whoever, right? Bob the buyer. Hey, listen, it's Vicente again. I know that we just closed on a deal from before. I have another 6-family property for you. You paid 1.45 for that one. This one's 1.35. And you just know who to call once you generated the lead, right? Like every seller lead my team generates, I can tell them, hey, give this guy a call, give this guy a call, give this guy a call. Because I know that those buyers are looking for that product. So now every day, you're gonna spend 1 to 2 hours a day calling up buyers to try to sell them the properties you've generated. Because every lead you generate is now an opportunity for you to try to sell a buyer. Is that making sense?
Yes.
During that 2 hour window, you have one goal, which is to get 1 offer written up per day, which is trying to call a buyer until you get one of them to make you an offer. That's the plan. Again, if you want to make $400,000 a year, this is what it looks like. This is the same metrics I hold every one of my agents on my team to. 2 leads a day, 1 offer a day. Does the seller lead have to be at a really good price that it's like an unbelievable deal? No. A seller lead is just somebody who would like to maybe sell their property for any price. And that offer that they submit, does that have to be full price? No. It just has to be any offer that buyer is willing to make an offer for. But it's getting into the mental routine, the mental discipline to do that over and over and over and over again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's your minimum metrics. 2 seller leads a day, 1 offer a day, complete 100% of your follow-up every day. Now it's 4 p.m. Now is when you go on, you do one of 2 things. If you have appointments, you go on your appointments. And if you don't have any appointments, you said it before, what should you do?
Keep on calling.
There you go. Lead generate. Make sure you follow up with all the leads at some point so you don't lose them. Because not every single lead is ever going to, like most leads, 99% of all leads that we generate are not going to close right away, right? You're not going to call them up the day, today and then get them under contract the same day. Like this is just not normal. It's going to be a process. Most of the deals that we close today are leads that we generated 90 days ago, 6 months ago, a year or 2 ago. That's just how this business works, right? And then the latter part of the day is spent on pitching buyers because you're never going to get a deal closed unless you bring buyer and seller together, right? And you get them to make an offer that is acceptable. You can negotiate, right? And get it done, okay? Just like you did in the past with that one deal. And then, of course, you got to go meet some clients. You do it at the end of the day. But if you have no appointments, you just go back to step 1 and recycle, rinse, wash, repeat. The difference between an agent who makes good money, like making a couple $100,000 or more per year, and an agent who makes fairly little money is discipline. Because the only difference is that one agent will make their calls and follow that schedule every day, or at least 80 to 90% of the time. And then the agent who makes okay money, barely makes it financially, is an agent who's not disciplined and does not follow a schedule. It's this one little piece of consistency that we're going to work on together. So all I want you to do is that you have until next Monday to get your CRM system. That's 1. Number 2, what I want you to do is starting this week, I want you to practice doing this schedule. And I want you to realize this schedule does not change for literally the next 2 years. I've been in this business 10 years, Vicente. It's the same every day. The only difference is that I'm different up here. I'm sharper, I'm better on the phones, right? I have a better network, right? I have more buyers and I have more seller leads. That's it. The schedule didn't really change much. I actually prospected a lot more when I was, earlier in the business. Now my team makes 250,000 cold calls a month, and I just help them close the deals. So step one, in order to get you to your goal of 400K this year, is to do what? What is our step one? Let's build our 1, 2, 3 together.
The call for prospecting. The afternoon is follow up. But I can't follow up. I don't have anything yet.
That's fine. And by the way, if you have no leads to follow up with, I would take that the 1 hour window and call individuals in your life who have referred you business in the past. Has anybody ever referred you somebody?
Not many, but I have some people who've done it.
But my point is that you don't have nobody, right? It's not zero. And even if it's one person, that's fine. It could be 15 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be 1 hour to start, right? But the goal is that you're going to build this database up to get to that point.
And I've been talking for years to an older guy who has a building in Hollywood, very, very nice building. He keeps it A1, 22 units, has a pool and everything. Small unit, 1 bedroom or efficiencies.
Yep.
1 bedroom and efficiencies. But we've been talking. We're kind of friends already. So he wants to sell it. I think eventually he's kind of older.
What I want you to think about, though, is that you can never rely on one lead to make your business, right? To make your career. If you want to close, let's just say, call it 8 deals this year to make 400 grand. I mean, it might be more, right? It might be less, right? Depending on what your average commission is per deal. But if it's 50 grand per deal, right? That's 8 closings. If it's 100 grand per deal, then it's only 4 closings. But regardless, if you want 4 closings to 8 closings, let's call it 8 to be safe, right? Roughly, you probably need something like 400 or 500 leads this year. So that you got to think about it like, okay, great. Like I need 8 closings this year and nothing's on the board. You got 0 on the board. We need to get to 1 on the board. And the only way to do that is to prospect and lead generate your tail off every day, 4, 5, 6, 8 hours a day, whatever it takes. So the first 30 days could just be 8 hours a day of prospecting on the phone. That's probably what it's going to be. You're exactly right. First 30 days is probably going to be literally nothing else happens. You're literally going to sleep, work out, prospect, and that's it.
Another thing, I heard that you don't like CREsync. I like CREsync because the buyers may come by themselves, and you don't get as many tire kickers as you do when you list in MLS.
I agree with you.
So I like CREsync much better than MLS.
I agree with you. I don't list anything for sale.
Yeah.
So if you like CREsync, get CREsync. I'm supportive of it. I'm supportive.
When they're going to give me the listing, I take out the commission agreement page, and that's what they signed.
I understand.
Even though they are not bound to the deal, but I think they are because they are not into real estate selling.
Yeah.
So they obey what it is.
I understand.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to repeat the 3 things we're going to count on you for, okay? We're going to hold you accountable. 1, you're going to get a CRM system by Monday. You're going to email me when you're done.
Okay.
Number 2, you're going to prospect every single day at least 4 hours a day going forward for the next 30 days. How many days a week can you commit to doing so?
7, man.
You're doing
Whatever
7?
it is. Yeah, no problem. I got no problem. I'm divorced. My kids are grown and everything.
Okay.
Hey, what kind of CRMs there are? What are...
So I use Follow Up Boss. That's what I use. Again, you can just Google real estate agent CRM and you can see a bunch of them. And I would just choose one if you want a cheaper one. You can send me a bunch of options, by the way, via email or text. And I'll let you know which one works the best if you want to also get other opinions. But I use Follow Up Boss. So you're going to get a CRM system by next Monday. You're going to prospect 7 days a week for the next 30 days straight minimum. Okay? Remember, 2 leads minimum a day every single day. That's going to be awesome. Number 3, I need you active on every training. Okay? So that's Wednesday. You have the Zoom link?
I think I do.
Okay, it's in your email. So I just want to make sure you have it. Okay?
Yeah.
So you're going to make sure you have the Zoom link. It's every Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Okay? So 2 hours every Wednesday. And then it's Thursday, 12 to 1 o'clock. Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, and Thursday, 12 to 1. It's 3 hours a week. First hour is live cold calling. Second hour is Q&A. So always bring me lots of questions. You can just raise your hand. You can raise your hand or type your question in the chat. Feel free to ask me 100 questions every week, okay?
Okay.
And then Thursday is all about underwriting, learning how to evaluate properties, understanding when you have a really good deal or you have a bad deal you should stop wasting your time on. And again, Vicente, not everyone gets this opportunity. I am in your market, right? I'm in Miami Beach, right? So I have a lot of buyers. So if you happen to come across an interesting seller lead, let me know, and I could probably sell it for you.
I had a listing in Wynwood for $30 million. I didn't sell it. $30 million. The owner sold it already, but I didn't have anybody to go to.
Now you have somebody to go to.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here to support you. And again, my team probably has a buyer for your sellers or a seller for your buyer. Okay? So be active. There's a lot of agents in this group, in this community, that are in Florida. So in the group chat on WhatsApp. Do you have WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to add you to the WhatsApp group. Make sure you're active in the chat and you're talking in the WhatsApp group, because you're going to be able to message people from Florida. Hey, I have a 6-unit deal, a 22-unit deal. I have a whatever property, and there's someone in that group who probably has a buyer for you. Okay?